Hello, Palo Alto. Today is Friday, March 19th, 2021, and InFocus starts.
Embarcadero Road. Walk sign is on the crossing.
Welcome to InFocus. I'm Cody Millar. With the rising costs of housing in the Bay Area, the ability for teachers to find affordable housing is becoming incredibly scarce. InFocus reporter Asita Geller has more on what local cities are doing to help remedy this issue.
The expensive and hard-to-find housing in Palo Alto causes many teachers and staff members to look for housing elsewhere. This causes teachers to make long commutes to work every day, which can result in a loss of quality of life and a decrease in mood for both the teachers and the students. The proposed teacher housing project at 231 Grant Avenue will reduce those commutes and allow for staff members in PAUSD and other surrounding school districts to have a cheaper place to live. Due to the close proximity to California Avenue, the tenants have access to a grocery store, the many restaurants and bars, and a Caltrain station. If built, the project would address the growing housing problems of those who make too much to qualify for public benefits, but too little to afford market rate rent, including teachers and school district staff who have seen rents skyrocket, forcing them to make long commutes to work. Joseph Midian, the Santa Clara County supervisor, has been a strong advocate for the project for the past 2 years.
You know, as the cost of housing has gone up and up and up, it has been tougher and tougher to attract and retain great teachers in our local school districts. It just doesn't work for them. We've got too many teachers who are commuting from, miles and miles away, halfway to hell and gone. And it just, at some point, you have to say this is not sustainable.
Since first proposed in 2018, several large donors have stepped up to help the project. The city of Palo Alto has pledged $3 million to the project, the county is donating the land as well as $6 million, and Facebook announced a commitment of $25 million to the project. Austin Davis, a teacher at Pali, was skeptical about the idea.
I like to explore new places. I grew up in Palo Alto, and so, I don't know, I just like to have a little bit of a separation between work and home. Other teachers are different, so I think that there are a lot of teachers that would want to live close or who live really far away.
The building, located across the street from a county courthouse, is on county property, so the county's board of supervisors would have the final say on the project's approval. Many Palo Alto City Council members also agreed with this project, and on February 8th, the City Council gave an initial thumbs up. In the past, other cities around the country have tried creating affordable teacher housing, but they ended up just being rented out to the regular citizen. Midian promised that they were implementing rules to have these units be rented out to the school staff only.
Well, there will be a rental agreement when the project is finally built and the units are made available, and folks will have to be part of the local school community. The local school community will certainly play a role, as I say, in describing and defining who has access to these units. One of the reasons that I'm pursuing this project is for the 110 units, but really the reason I'm pursuing this project is because if we prove we can do it here, then we can do it again and again and again. I want this to be a model that gets replicated.
If approved, the project would begin construction in August of 2022 and complete in February 2024. For InFocus, I'm Asa Degler.
Thanks for that, Asa. While teachers and others are struggling to move closer to schools such as Pali and Gunn, many seniors are approaching their time to say goodbye after 13 years. Lulu Gaither guides us in how some seniors are finding alternatives to the four-year college.
In the past year, there's been a lot of changes and unknowns in our lives. With COVID shutting down colleges all across the country, many students have chosen to step away from Zoom classes and online academics and take a gap year. Several of our own Palo Alto High School graduates have taken this path and made the most of a pandemic through a year break from school.
I'm Sarah. I went to Pali, and I'm class of 2019.
Leah Salvatierra. I went to Palo Alto High School, and I graduated in 2019.
Sarah Mitz and Leah Salvatierra have both had unique experiences throughout their year away from school.
In August, I went to go live on a communal farm with 6 other people. We would all have dinner together every night, and we lived together. We shared all our money, our house, everything. Basically, we were enclosed on a farm, and the whole country was in lockdown, but we could roam free. I had orchards, and then in the afternoon we would go herd a bunch of goats together. Now I'm home and I'm doing an internship, and I'm going back to school I guess as a sophomore in September.
So on my gap year, I spent 3 months through a program between the countries of Bolivia and Peru in South America. I was working at home for a couple of months, which is also a totally valid gap year option. Like a lot of people just make money. It was really useful to me going into college to have that. I lived in Virginia and was basically working as like an unpaid intern for a campaign.
The two gap year students had different experiences with the pandemic hitting during their gap year, but were both able to make it work.
I thought, honestly, I think it was the best decision I could have made. I was like, okay, I can do something really cool with a really small group of people, or like go to school and be by myself in a room on Zoom. So I guess it was good for me.
I was planning on doing a Knowles mountaineering course in the Himalayas. So I missed out on that, but I'm hoping to redo, that portion of my gap year I can do another time.
While a few months is not much time, these students have learned a lot about themselves by taking a gap year.
There was a lot of times where I was picking mangoes and it was 100 degrees and I was like, what am I doing with my life? I could be at school, all my friends I know are doing very different things than I am. We would drive up the mountain after picking and there was a beautiful sunset, and then we had the whole day free. It was just a way different thing than I thought I would ever be able to do as someone who was 19. And it was so awesome, and now I'm thank God I went on this. This is the best decision I ever made.
Especially living in California and growing up in California, it's a huge state, and so we don't necessarily need to travel out of state or learn about other states as much as we could. So I think that I kind of added a lot more in-state and in-country stuff to my bucket list. I think that I was really well prepared for being alone because in my homestays, I didn't have a phone for 3 months, so that was really awesome and important and really difficult. It actually kind of guided what I want to do in college at this point. I'm considering being a history major, potentially global studies. I went into college a lot more sure of what I wanted to get out of college, and I think that that's a huge benefit.
While taking a gap year is scary and an uncomfortable thing to do, these students highly recommend doing it.
In a very academic setting at Pali, I think that I was still running after I graduated and didn't stop running until I actually took that year off, and I probably wouldn't have stopped running until I graduated. And I think that I finally stopped and I walked and actually had time to really reevaluate, where I grew up and all of those kind of things that you're really immune to. I know that you might want to rush straight to college because it's been such a weird year, but the nice thing is that everyone's lives have been completely shaken up, so there's no better time to steer off the traditional path.
School will always be there. You can make it work, and there's so many cool things you could do. I don't really think anybody regrets taking a gap year.
Taking a gap year is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see new places, meet new people, have new experiences, and learn so much about yourself and the world around you. Even during COVID, taking a year off can bring memories that last a lifetime.
That does it for today's show. Be sure to check out our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch previous content, follow us on Instagram to engage with our content, and Twitter for updates and breaking news. Until next time, I'm Kodu Malar, and this has been InFocus.